choose to join us, we're always here, same time, same place. And right now, I will pass the microphone over to Julie so she can lead us. Thank you so much for leading us, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I will start by talking about my donation agency that I've chosen. It's called Paz de Cristo. I live in Mesa, Arizona, part of the Phoenix area. And Paz de Cristo provides hot meals every day of the year. It's a dinner service. And they also have other services. And these are for folks who may be homeless or just folks who are in need. It's an organization I volunteered for in the past, and I am just very pleased with their mission. So I chose them as our donation for today. And this is going to be a gentle flow class. You will see me look at my phone. I use my phone like it's a clock, just to be aware of that. And you also may see I have a beautiful cattle dog who may choose to wander in and out at times. He likes to be part of the yoga class. So having said that, let's go ahead and find our way to a comfortable sitting position. And just letting your eyes softly close. Think of sitting up nice and tall, and think of those sit bones, the bones that you can feel through your glutes being onto the earth. We tend to have a habit of sitting back behind those bones, and we want to sit right on top of those. And as your eyes softly close, notice if it's going to work today for you to breathe in and out through your nose. And obviously, if that's not working, then you're going to breathe in a way that will allow you to be present, will allow you to practice yoga. This is a gentle class, a gentle flow class, and the theme I'm working with is unity. I chose unity because I do believe we are all one people. We are all connected here on this planet. And as we take about a minute, minute and a half and breathe together in silence, if your mind tries to wander off to what comes next or maybe what you had to do to get here, simply bring it back with either the word unity, if that resonates, or even we are all one, we are all in this together. Just notice if one of those resonates. We'll take a moment breathing together in silence. And then as you're ready, gently opening the eyes, bringing your hands onto your hips. Let's rotate through the spine. We'll come forward, over to the side, backwards, and go ahead and move nice and slow. So when I move slowly, I notice where am I getting the stretch? And I also can course correct if I'm starting to rotate and my body says, oh, please don't rotate through that. And then as you're ready, reverse, go the opposite direction. As I mentioned, this is Marley. He will come in and out of the class. He thinks this is his yoga mat. We often have to have a discussion about that. And then bring yourself right back up to center. Let's take our left hand near the left hip, right arm next to the right ear. Just let that left hand slide out a little bit as you open up the right side of the body, and maybe turn your gaze up towards that right hand. Side bends give us just a little more space to breathe. We can certainly all use that. I know I can. And then come back to center. We'll bring that right hand down, left arm next to the left ear, right hand slides out, opening the left side, and again, turning the gaze up towards that left palm. If turning the gaze up is not great for you today, you can look straight ahead. You can even look down. Your body is the guru. I'm making suggestions here. And right back up to center. Place your hands near your hips. Extend those legs. They're going to be greater than hip distance apart. I could keep my hands near my hips to support myself, or I could rest my hands on my thighs. Rotate through your ankles. So these rotations, I refer to this as unwinding. And then the other way. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning here, so I don't really have much I need to unwind from yet. But it's a nice little practice. And shake that out. Extending that left leg to the side. Sole of the right foot is going to come to the inside of the left leg. I'm taking my peace fingers and my thumb of my left hand and capping my left big toe. And you can see I bent into my knee to do that. Once I've got the toe, if I want to, I could straighten that leg. I can also keep it bent. I'll take my right arm and draw back, just like I was a bow and arrow. Giving that back of the left leg a sweet stretch. And it's probably a different time for all of us, wherever you are. And then go ahead and release. And we'll just find that on the opposite side, hands near the hips, right leg extends, sole of the left foot to the inside, peace fingers and thumb of the right hand, bending. Find that right big toe, check in, do I want to keep the knee bent, do I want to straighten, and then use that left arm, draw back, bow and arrow. And if you notice you are different side to side, congratulations, that means your body is normal. We are not symmetrical side to side. I've got a much deeper bend in this knee. And then let's release and find our way onto our hands and knees. So from hands and knees, think about having your knees underneath your hips. Perhaps your shoulder, elbow, and wrist come into one line, index fingers pointing forward. And as we inhale, dropping the belly, back of the head and the tailbone go high. Exhale, tuck chin, tuck tailbone, round your back to the sky. Inhale, drop. Exhale, round. I'm going to give you lots of permission slips in this practice. So as we move through these rounds of cat-cow, if your body wants you to hold the cat or hold the cow, do that. If your body wants you to move at a different pace, do that. I do believe we are all one people, and I believe each body we inhabit has a little bit of different needs. Finding your way back to hands and knees. Let's go ahead and extend that left arm forward. Imagine the thumb pointing to the sky. And then if you'd like, extending the right leg straight back, working right here, or if you'd like to, drawing elbow and knee together for some gentle core work. And think of moving slowly. So when we move slowly, we're going to do this 5 times, and we're on the honor system. I'm not counting. When you move slow, it's going to work your core a little differently than if you're moving fast. I think for me, that's 4. And then gently bringing my left hand down, my right knee down. I always like to take a moment when I'm back in symmetry and just take a nice breath. And then we'll extend the right arm, thumb to the sky. Maybe left leg extends back. Think of those hips being square to the mat. And if you'd like, drawing elbow towards knee. If that's not good for you today, you can work with the arm and leg extended. You can even work with the arm or the leg extended. And then again, right hand down, left knee down. Tuck the toes. Consider sitting back, hips to heels. Make sure all your toes are part of this pose. If this isn't good on you, sit in a comfortable way. You could go back to sitting cross-legged. We won't be here long. Or you could untuck the toes. Think about rotating through the neck. We'll do chin to chest, ear to shoulder, nice and slow. So our last little bit of unwinding. We started with the spine. We did the ankles. And now we're going to do the neck. Let's reverse. And when you come back to center, bring those hands to the mat, untuck the toes, tap, 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 let that go. One more little flow I like to do, hands forward, tuck those toes again, but we're not going to sit back. This time, as you exhale, sink back. So maybe that gives you a little stretch in between the shoulder blades. Inhale, center. Exhale, we can drop the hips down, finding a back bend. So inhale will come center. Exhale, we're either going to push back or come forward. And keep in mind, I could come forward this much. I could come forward to where I'm dropping my hips. Notice what your body wants. I can also sink back and hold here. And if you're not sure, if you're saying, I'm not really sure what my body wants today, move back and forth. Keep it gentle. This is a gentle class. And we're just going to find one more after this. So one more time, we sink back. And one more time, we're going to come forward. As we come back to more of a hands and knees, keep those toes tucked. Walk your hands back, lift your knees, bring those hands in front of the feet. Find your way to a forward fold. I'm going to turn to face you. I do move around quite a bit on my mat just so you can see what I'm doing. But you're at the front or the back of your mat. That's going to be perfectly fine. Forward folds. Maybe my fingers or my hands come to the mat. Maybe I'm going to bring my elbows above my knees and rest here. The only important thing is that I want you to relax your head and neck. So to check in and notice, is my head relaxed? Let's gently shake it. No. We're going to say no to stress. And let's gently nod yes. Yes, we are all one people. Yes to unity. Take one more breath here. And then hands on the hips. Roll yourself up. Let's do one more little bonus side bend because we all need a little more space to breathe. Inhale, arms up. I'm going to take my right hand to my left wrist, open up that left side of the body. My feet are more than hip distance here, so I'm pretty secure. And then again, if I'd like, I could turn my gaze up towards my hands. And then inhale, center, reverse the clasp. So now I've got my left hand to my right wrist, open the right side. I'd like, I can turn my gaze up. Inhale, center, bring those hands to prayer. Bring that prayer right down to the heart. Let's go ahead and do some balance work while we're here. I'm going to ground very strongly through my left foot, lift my right heel, turn my right knee out to the side. If I'd like, I can bring that right foot onto my standing leg. I can keep my hands here if I'd like. We're in Arizona, we're going to be Saguaro Cactus. So saguaro cactus are resilient. They live outside for hundreds of years. And if you've ever been to Phoenix in the summer, 120 degrees is pretty normal temperature. Take a breath, hands to the heart, turn that right knee forward, lift, and go ahead and place that down. Just shake it off, let it go. Whatever happens or doesn't happen when we balance, we let it go. Hands to the heart. We're going to do the second side. This time I'm going to ground through my right foot, lift my left heel, turn my left knee out to the side, and I'm engaging all the muscles on my standing leg, all the muscles in my core. If I want, I'll bring that foot to the inside of my standing leg. If I want, saguaro cactus. Breathe here. Can you imagine if someone told you you had to live outside in Phoenix in the summer? That's why I say they're resilient and they're beautiful. As we bring hands back to the heart, turn that knee forward, lift, and bring it down, and then just shake that off. Yeah, and if we fall out of balance, we train our nervous system to do new things. So let's start from the back of the mat. We'll have hands on the hips. Stepping our right foot forward, plant that left foot out at an angle. Make sure your hips are nice and square. Lift your arms up to the sky, sink into that front knee, and think about lifting your heart towards the sky. Bringing that chest back to neutral. Swim those arms behind. Clasp your hands. We're going to draw our shoulder blades together and down. I'm going to drop my right shoulder towards my right knee. Gaze is at the ground. My arms may rest on my back. My arms may go up to the sky. From here, go ahead and bring those hands down to the mat. Step that left foot up to meet the right, and then hands on the hips, roll yourself up. So let's see if we can repeat that. This time I'm going to keep my left foot forward, and I'll step my right foot back. Once again, warrior one. Think of those hips being square, arms up, bend into that front knee. Lift that chest, tiny little back bend. And as I bring my chest to neutral, swing my hands behind, I'm going to notice which thumb is on top because that's my habit. Clasp my hands the opposite way, shoulder blades together and down, dropping my left shoulder towards my left knee, gaze down, hands rest on the back, or my arms come up to the sky. This one's different. Release the hands to the mat. Gaze is down at those left toes. I'm going to drop my right knee onto the mat and I'm in a lunge. So I can bring my hands onto my thigh. There's so many ways we can do lunges. I can work right here. This for me is my accessible way to do a lunge. But if I want to explore a little differently, I could bring my hands to the mat. I could rock onto the outer blade of that front foot or even step that foot a little farther forward. Maybe combining a couple of those, hands down, foot to the outer blade. Sometimes I also like to bring my forearms onto my thigh. Maybe there's a way you lunge that I haven't even talked about and you're in that right now. Just giving those hips some love. Breathing into this. There's something I heard recently, and I do truly believe we are all united, we are all connected. And the saying was, everyone you have ever met and everyone you ever will meet is you. And I love that. I love that thought of, if everyone I meet is me, how am I responding to myself? How am I giving love and support and compassion to myself? Let's go ahead and bring both hands down. And maybe I heel toe, maybe I slide that left foot back. Taking a moment again, always nice to be back in symmetry. And as I'm ready, I'll step my right foot forward, Finding a lunge on this side. So just reminding, we can roll to the outer blade of the foot. We could have hands down. I could have hands on my thigh, forearms on my thigh. And how do I know which is the right pose? So if I come into a pose and I feel like I'm going to hold my breath, maybe I need to make a different choice. The breath is always the teacher for me that reminds me, hey, how are we doing this? Is there a better way to do this? Is there a better choice, a different choice? This is one of the poses that feels very different to me side to side. So I talked a little bit earlier about asymmetry, and if you're feeling like, wow, it was really much easier on the first side, or it's much easier on this side, just keep that in mind. We are asymmetrical. It doesn't mean anything. Taking just a few more breaths here. And then to come out, we're going to bring our hands to the mat. Any way I can get that right knee back, I'll be in all fours. Let's sink back and find a child's pose. So perhaps knees together feels comfortable. Perhaps it feels better to do knees wide with toes touching. If the head doesn't want to come to the mat, think of making some fists and just rest your head down. So I'm going to sit up, but I want you to stay here. And I want you to think about being connected. Think about the fact that there are no others. If we're all one person, how do we approach when we see someone? How do we approach them from a place of love, from a place of compassion? How do we promote unity in our daily lives? Let's take about a minute and breathe together. And as you're ready, finding your way back to hands and knees. Let's extend our right leg back and plant that right foot. I'm going to bring my left hand underneath my nose. Maybe my right arm wants to grow light. This is a version of Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. If I'd like to let that right leg fly, I'll tuck the toes of my left foot and lift. And that's not a necessary thing, that's a suggestion. Gaze could go up to the top hand, straight ahead, or down to the mat. When I move my gaze, it changes my balance dramatically. And let's go ahead and bring right foot down, right knee down, right hand down. Take a moment, take a breath. Same thing, second side. Let's extend the left leg back and plant the foot. Bring that right hand underneath the nose. Left arm up to the sky. If I'd like, tuck the toes of the right foot. Let that left leg fly. Breathe into this. And if you want to play with your balance, turn your gaze. For me, looking up is always the hardest. Breathe here. And then left foot down, left knee down, left hand down. Let's point our right toes up to the sky. Maybe that left hand grows light and finds that right foot. We can kick left foot or right foot into left hand. Now here, gently bring that left knee, or rather the right knee behind the left, and see if you can walk yourself back into Gomukhasana legs. And I'm going to turn around so you can see what my legs are doing. Some of you will know what Gomukhasana legs looks like. If you came into this and your legs said, no, thank you, let's not do that, just come to a comfortable cross-legged position and place your left leg in the front. If you'd like to get a little more hip stretch here, think of letting your heart lead. As a reminder, this is my chin leading, this is my heart, and fold forward, letting those hands come down, breathing here. So if you came forward and again, your hips said that's a big, big stretch, work a little more upright. Remembering that you are the guru for your body. You absolutely will know better than I what is the best variation. And we'll just take another breath or two here. Sometimes when we hold a pose, you have the invitation to come a little deeper. Sometimes we have the invitation to back out. Listen to them both. It's an invitation, not a command. And then using your hands, bring yourself up. Consider just coming over the knees, back onto hands and knees. And I'm going to do the second set right from here. So I'm going to extend my left leg to the sky, toes pointed. My right hand grows light. And maybe I can catch left foot in my right hand and kick. And then again, left knee behind the right. I'm going to release the bind of the hand and the foot, walk myself back, see if I can find my Gomukhasana legs. This time, if you wanted to sit in a comfortable cross-leg position, your right leg will be in front. So take a nice deep breath here. Think of being nice and tall. Work here. If you'd like to intensify this stretch, let that heart lead. And come just a little bit forward. Checking in again with the breath, noticing how is the breath guiding me here? Is it easy to breathe? I read one time that if you can sing when you're exercising, that you are not pushing yourself too hard. Personally, I cannot sing while I exercise, but I can talk. So just something to keep in mind. Maybe some of you are singers and you want to try that. And sinking in, and just as importantly, backing off. If your body says, hey, let's back off, this is getting to be a bit much, listen to what your body is telling you. And again, if you're thinking, I'm not sure what my body is saying, then I always say, go gentler, be a little more gentle. So again, let's consider rolling over the knees. We'll start by bringing ourselves up. If you don't want to roll over the knees, just uncross the legs and come back to hands and knees. So if you want to roll over, bring yourself forward, back to hands and knees. And let's take a moment and take our right hand, consider turning it out to the side or even turning it towards your right leg. We're looking for a stretch in the forearm. And if you came into this and you're thinking, I'm not getting a stretch, go ahead and sit back, hips to heels. Notice the difference that makes. Breathe into this. Anybody who spends a lot of time writing, typing, driving, your forearms are going to get tight. Even if you teach yoga for a living, it's amazing how much time we spend on the computer. Take another breath. If you're sinking back, lift your hips, and then turn that hand around before you place it down. Shake it off, just like you had wet hands and there were no paper towels. And then gently place that hand down. Take that nice breath in symmetry. We'll take our left hand, perhaps the fingers point out to the side, perhaps they point straight back. Again, check in and notice, am I getting a stretch? And if you're wanting to intensify the stretch, you could sink back hips to heels. This is my much tighter side, so I tend not to sink back on this side. Finding just a few breaths here. You could also do a pose like this with your hand against the wall. And if you're sinking back, come back to center. Go ahead and lift that hand, shake it off. And then from our all fours position, just do one downward facing dog. So I'm going to tuck the toes, pressing my hips up and back. I'm pressing the mat away with my hands. And I'm going to lift and lower one heel and then the other. You can keep your knees deeply bent here. That might feel better for you. Might feel better to straighten the legs. And as we're ready, walk the hands back to the feet. Forward fold, back of the mat. Clasping opposite hand to opposite elbow, slowly and gently sway side to side. Coming back to center, hands on the hips, roll yourself up, gentle bend in the knees. Stack those shoulders. So we're going to be nice and strong through the left foot. I'm stepping my right foot pretty far forward. Think warrior two, big step. And I want my front heel to line up with that back arch. I'm going to bring my arms out like wings, sinking into that front knee, front toes are going forward, chest and shoulders nice and open. Gaze is over my right fingers, right palm to the sky, left palm to left thigh, peaceful warrior. We're going to have unity. Let's do it through peace. Bring that left hand up to the right wrist. Draw my front knee to straight, archer's pose. Only shooting arrows of peace. And big inhale back to center. Arms are straight, legs are straight. Tilt that left hip. My right hand's going to come down for triangle. It could be on my thigh. It could be on my shin. My left arm can reach for the sky, or it could stay on my hip. Breathe here. Gentle bend in the right knee, bringing that right forearm to the right thigh, side angle. And then just like magic, I'm going to grab your left wrist, bring you back into warrior two, hands onto the hips. And let's heel toe right from here. We can find warrior two going the opposite direction. So take a moment, make sure you're set up. Front heel, meeting that back arch. Front knee, front toes going forward. Bending into the front knee, arms out like wings, chest, shoulders open. And let's go ahead and bring that left palm to the sky, right palm to right thigh. Perhaps we follow that right hand up and over, peaceful warrior. Right hand to left wrist, straighten into that front leg, archer's pose. As I release, both arms, both legs are straight. Tilt that right hip. My left hand could be on the thigh. Right arm is up, or it can be on my hip. I can bring that left arm down as long as I can keep my chest and shoulders open. Gentle bend into the left knee, letting that left forearm come onto the thigh, side angle pose. And then imagine I could magically grab everyone's right wrist and I help you come back into warrior two. Hands come onto the hips, turning so that your toes are in, your heels are out. Let that heart lead. Fold forward. Once you're forward, perhaps those hands come down to the mat. And if it's pretty easy to get hands to the mat, you could consider turning your fingers so that they're going the opposite direction of the toes. And if that's easy, you can actually walk your hands in between the legs. Forward fold, so really the important thing here is to relax your head and neck. Take a moment and breathe. Turning those hands back around. And if, like me, you've gotten kind of wide in your legs, take a moment with hands still on the mat to heel toe those feet together. Toes are still in, gentle bend in the knees, hands on the hips, roll yourself up. And once you're up, let's go ahead and turn toes out, heels in. Keep the hands right here. Sink, 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 sink. Find your goddess pose or your horse pose. And sometimes I have to rock a little bit. Sometimes my hips are cranky in this pose. Think about bringing the hands to the heart. Nice deep breath here. Sink a little deeper. Think you're going straight down. And then with hands on the hips, press into the legs. Let's heel toe those feet until they're together. Arms out like wings. Bring your right arm under your left. Palms are going to touch. Garudasana, eagle arms. Deep bend into both knees. Let's go ahead and lift your right heel. Consider bringing that right leg over the left. So my foot is floating. I could easily have my toes on the ground, or I could wrap my foot. I'm not going to say easily. Wrapping is a little challenging. Breathe here. Release the legs, straight legs. Release the arms overhead, palms touch. And as the arms come out, this time we'll take left arm under the right. If your hands don't want to come into this pose, you can bring your hands to your shoulders, give yourself a hug. Gentle bend into both knees, lift the left heel. Maybe I'm going to bring that leg up and over. Maybe I float the foot. Maybe I keep the toe on the ground. Maybe I wrap. Using my breath to help hold me steady. Looking at one point that is not moving. And then release the legs, straighten the legs, release the arms up. This time, keep the hands in prayer. Draw that prayer straight down, finding your way down to a comfortable sitting position. Let's take just a moment here, returning just where we began with the legs softly closed, sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to close my eyes for just a moment, taking a few breaths. When we come together, when we unify, I believe we raise the vibration. So if a group of people all over the planet is doing yoga, this class, other classes, the vibration on this planet can actually rise. I think that's something we can use right now. I'm just taking another breath or two here. As we open the eyes, gently bringing the hands to heart center, keeping that nice tall spine, sit bones are grounded. Inhale. And as we exhale, think of letting the chest turn towards the right, just the chest, not the chin. Inhale, let's come center. Exhale, let's let the chest turn left. Then inhale, center. We'll do two more. Each one's a little different. As we exhale, chest goes right. Now, if we'd like, I can turn the chin a little more to the right. And then inhale, center. Exhale, left. If I'd like, I can turn my chin a little more to the left. And then back to center. Last one. Exhale, right. This time my chest stays right. My chin turns to the left. I'm going to bring everything center. Exhale, left. My chin goes right. And then back to center. Just like we did at the beginning of class, let's extend our left leg. The sole of my right foot is touching the inner thigh. I'm going to inhale and grow tall. Exhale, turn. Think of your heart moving towards your knee. Hands can come down on either side of that extended leg. So for me, this is a big stretch on the extended leg. And if that's not agreeable, I would bend into that knee. I also get a stretch sometimes on my lower back, on the side where my leg is bent. If that's not agreeable, I'd come more upright. If I want to work forehead to knee, because this is Janu Shavasana, I would bend my knee, grab my foot, bring my forehead to my knee, and then straighten. And my leg is not going to go to straight at this hour of the day. But when it stops, that's where I know this is where I should work. This is where my body is wanting me to work right now. So all those options, many different options, many variations. For me, I'm going to work a little more upright. And again, I like to offer a lot of variations. I teach folks who are differently abled. One of my favorite groups to teach is folks that have survived strokes. So I'm used to offering many, many variations for them. And it helps us to see what works on my body, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And as always, if you're thinking, I'm not sure, then I would say, well, work upright, bend the knee, pick the gentle variation. We can always come deeper. Take another breath here. And then use the hands coming up. We'll switch to the opposite side. Right leg extends, sole of the left foot to the inside of the right leg. Inhale, I'm going to grow tall. Exhale, turn. I'm letting my heart lead. Hands can come to either side. Just as a gentle reminder, I could bend into my knee. I can work upright. And again, I could bend my knee deeply, find my foot, forehead to knee, and then work to get that leg towards straight. So imagine if we could, instead of having the goal of, oh, I need to have my forehead to my knee and keep that leg straight, if the goal is just, I'm in class and I'm doing yoga, we're all going to meet our goal. And that's a much more inclusive way of looking at it. And hey, some of you are going to be able to bring your forehead to your knee and straighten the leg. That's your yoga today. Noticing if you get the invitation. And again, I think in our culture we're used to, we get the invitation to come deeper. The invitation to back off is as important, if not more important. Take one more breath here. And then using the hands, bring yourself up. Let's cross our right leg in front of the left, even if that's not how you usually sit. We're going to learn a new habit. Taking our left hand to the right knee, right hand near right hip. Inhale nice and tall. Remember, we're going to let that heart lead and let the heart turn. And once I feel like my heart has turned as much as it's going to, then I'll turn my chin. I think Marley's just supporting what I said. He likes that I led with my heart. And then as we gently inhale back to center, let's reverse. I'm going to put my left leg in front. I'll take my right hand to my left knee, my left hand near my left hip. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale, I'm going to let my heart lead. And again, once I feel like my heart has gone as far as it wants to, maybe my chin goes a little further, maybe not. Doesn't matter. Twist, remind us to release, remind us to let go. So I'm going to challenge all of us. I've talked about unity. I've talked about every person you ever meet in your life is you. I'm going to say right now, we let go of the statement of other, those other people. We're one people. Let's see if we can release that. And then so gently coming right back to center, bending into the knees, planting the feet. We're coming onto our backs. I'm going to use my core. I could hold on to the front of my shins as well. But think of using the core as you carefully roll down. And as you come onto the back, keep the knees bent and the feet planted, arms to the sides of the body, palms down. Walk those heels in so they're pretty close to your glutes. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, press through the feet, lift those hips, find your bridge pose. Inhale, roll everything down, one vertebrae at a time. Second set, inhale, prepare, exhale, press through the feet, lift the hips. This time, think about shimmying the shoulders, clasping your hands. Maybe you get a little more lift as you do that. And then release the hands, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Last one. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, press through the feet. Think about turning your palms up to the sky, shimmying the shoulders under, and see if you can walk your heels into your hands. Lift those hips nice and high. Lift the heels, move the hands out of the way, roll down. Take a moment, hug your knees to your chest. I could put one hand on each knee, or I can clasp my fingers. And just for me, gentle side to side feels very nice. For some of you, it might feel better to rock up and down. Let's bring the feet to the mat. Right foot to the right side of the mat, left foot to the left side. My arms are going to come out in a T shape. And change my mind. Heel toe those feet back in so they're hip distance. Take that right ankle onto the left thigh. There we go, that's better. And as we exhale, let the legs drop to the right, chin goes left. Inhale, center, legs drop left, chin goes right. Go back and forth like this. If when you sing to one side, it feels really yummy, stay there. Just a little gentle hip release. So some of you know hips hold a lot of tension, a lot of stress, a lot of emotion. And as we are at this point in the pandemic, it's good to move the hips to release some of that, unpack it. Inhale back to center. Let that right foot come to the mat. Left ankle onto the right knee. The left knee is going to point out to the side. This time we start by dropping the legs to the right. Shin goes left. Oops. And then back to center. Opposite side. And go back and forth. Just gently releasing into the hips. And again, if you sink to one side and think, oh, I just want to hold here for a minute, do that. If it feels better to keep moving, do that. And next time you come center, let those feet come onto the mat. Bring the arms to the sides. Think about how you'd like to set up for Shavasana. If you like to keep the knees bent and the feet planted, I would walk the knees a little, or the feet a little farther apart so knees can fall in towards each other. This is actually gentler on the low back. If your low back is talking to you, that can feel good. If you prefer to extend the legs, you can do that. Whatever position you're in, your chest, your shoulders, your heart, nice and open. If you're still breathing in and out through the nose, let that go. I am going to sit up, but I want you to stay here. We'll be here for several minutes. And again, if your mind tries to wander off, bring it back with the thought of unity, the thought of we are all in this together. Think of what you've released. You've released the thought that there are others. You've accepted that we are all one people. And now, in unity, we find Shavasana and we breathe. So gently let movement come back to fingers and toes. Perhaps wrist and ankles softly rotate or gently move side to side. And as the hands and feet stop moving, one more time, turning the chin to the right on an exhale. Inhale, center, turn the chin left. Inhaling back to center, let's roll to the right side, facing towards the future, taking 2 breaths here. And then when you're ready, using that top hand, bringing yourself back up to a comfortable sitting position. We meet with the eyes closed, and the hands at the heart. A sweet and gentle reminder that there are no others, that we are all in this together, and that every person you will ever meet in your lifetime is you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for helping to raise the vibration of our planet. Namaste. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Julie. That was so lovely. I loved some of the sayings and quotes that you used throughout class.
Wonderful.
Lovely.
Well, I very much appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Yes,
Oh.
I'm being in the text. Thank you. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you so much for guiding us. Thank you to everyone who joined.